All right, well, we go again. It's going to be Turtle Troop to take down Bide in spectacular fashion to take us to a decider third map to be ending off our week. Vance, I heard you like Valorant. I got more Valorant for you. Good news.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I'm loving what I'm seeing so far. And you know what? With how things have been so one-sided in the first two maps, I think this is going to be actually even closer in the third because everybody's just going to not give a damn and just go out and just start shooting, and we're just going to see chaos going left and right. But at least I love the results of what we've seen for Turtle Troop in this second map. I think going back to what Heichi Hyuga was saying earlier on after Turtle Troop lost the first map, he said, well, Turtle Troop is off to a slow start. Hopefully we see them come out of their shell. And they did. And not only did they come out of their shell, they came out with Sage Walls too.
Yeah.
And they were able to really dominate the unorthodox composition as well that came out of core when they thought they had the solution with a deadlock in.
I'm still trying to, in my mind, figure out with this deadlock exactly what they were going for. Mostly just we didn't really get to see too many opportunities considering Turtle Troop, how quick they were to be shutting down Core in these circumstances. I mean, Corey was absolutely popping off on here. I think, honestly, Shift, that B-Dog took personal offense to what you were saying after map 1. We also saw some great Sage stuff there. I mean, Turtle Troop and Shift.
Yeah, Turtle Trooping. I mean, the thing about like deadlock comps and what we've seen in the past, like through stage 1 being used on maps like Sunset, I think most popularly was like the whole intention is deadlock should shut down an entire choke point, but it just hasn't really worked out that way. Maybe there needs to be something about, you know, the sensor array doing more than it currently does. Maybe the barrier mesh should last longer. I don't know what needs to happen, but deadlock has just been moved around legitimately.
Yeah.
Oh, deadlock's here. Okay, cool. We'll either just sit here and destroy the barrier mesh, or we'll just avoid it completely. And 56% cast for Nerve in that game. So like the value was just not there from the agent, flat out. On the other side, value was there from the side of B-Dog. You know, 63% cast, but 11 and 8, 10 out of 10 post plants, largely thanks to him. So I mean, it's just one of those situations that Core tried something wacky, didn't work out. I would be willing to bet my house they probably don't play that comp ever again.
I think that's a pretty safe bet, honestly. I mean, there was even some times where Turtle Troop, they went pushing into some deadlock utility. Someone gets stunned up by the net, and the rest of the team's there. There's no opportunity for Core to punish whatsoever. So the utility advance just kind of seemed a little, they couldn't make any use of it. Turtle Troop were just so aggressive on the pushes in.
And that's why we were saying how Core was playing their Sunset so well, right? Because they had really good players falling behind the initial take and then just winning the fights. So despite you hitting some traps here on, for example, the Beast, I remember vividly, like the stun that Ada received when he jumped out the window, there was still 3 players already inside the site coming in from B main.
Yep.
So then, or B long rather, and a Stellar just jumped up and got the trade. So that just shows right now for TTR, they really found their form. And when we were laughing on that first map, when we looked at the stats, Core was like, what, 9 out of 9 in terms of post play? Well, this time it was TTR at 10 out of 10. So both of these teams showing some amazing attack sides on their map pick. And now this is the remaining map, right, that's coming up. Yeah. And then we'll have to see who finds more comfort in that, because they're both quite terrible on it usually.
I mean, I'm hoping for a little bit of a closer game, and that's not a hard bar, hopefully, to be getting past, considering a 13-2, then a 13-3 scoreline here. But I am intrigued with Icebox, considering Shift, it's been around forever, but we've also seen both of these teams bring out a different look to their usual comps on other places before. So are they going to switch something up here, or are they going to do something a little more traditional? That's the biggest question in my mind.
I don't know. I mean, they've switched things up in the past.
Great answer.
I mean, it's just like, I need somebody who's like an uber Challengers NA nerd to do research on what is Turtle Troop's record in BO3 series when they don't play Ascent or Lotus, because those are the only 2 maps they have like a set comp on. Everything else is, well, what do you guys want to try today? I mean, it's more sophisticated of a conversation than that, but they keep messing around with their compositions on every other map that isn't those 2 maps. Yeah. So it does feel like the map fluency is just not there for Troop. And wouldn't you go figure, when they played up against Auction in the grand finals, they didn't play on either Lotus or Ascent. So it's just like, are those the only maps they have in their wheelhouse? Because everything else has been multiple composition change, this one included. They swapped off of running a very normal comp after losing to M80 pretty badly and tried throwing in a Gecko with a Killjoy, and that provided no more success than anything they've ran previously. So this is a square-up map, but it's not for any particularly great reasons. Both teams have been very mid on this map in particular.
I mean, you're saying, too, that it's probably a more sophisticated conversation than, hey, what do we want to play today, guys? But considering not even just the agent swaps, but the rule swaps that we see coming on through, I don't know. That's my biggest thing, my biggest reservation bands when we see Turtle Troop, because I like that we can see the adaptability coming on out. But when we are looking at then these map pools and exactly what Chip's saying, that's exactly where the questions are. I'd love to be proven wrong then on Icebox. And I mean, Core still then has a hurdle to overcome too, but I don't know. It's interesting at this point, Challengers.
Yeah, I just think for both of these teams, whatever they came out with compositions in the past, at least the core of what you need is in there, right? So one initiator, either it's a Gecko or a Sova just to get some scans in, but the biggest one are the Viper and the Jet. So keeping a Jet here in your composition, or maybe using a Rainer if you're going to go for a double controller play, kind of like I don't know, we've seen other teams kind of do it here, like Oxygen Esports, for example, right? But there's not really any bad picks that came out from any type of these compositions. Is just one thing that they haven't been doing on both ends is not using a Sage, and a Sage is still very strong on this map as well. If you want to go for those plans, if you're not using a Gecko to try to do that, and usually with a Gecko, you need to play double initiate on top of that as well, just to try to get the best value out of creating space, gaining space, and also getting these plants. So if you're asking me the question if there's going to be some compositional changes coming in from both ends, possibly just to try to min-max what's going to be around this Jet and this Viper to get the max value out of it.
I kind of like that you were talking about the Sage, considering I didn't necessarily think that we would see the Sage over on Bide. And I mean, if it is B-Dog bringing back the Sage, I don't know. I could go down a whole rabbit hole here, but our agent select is ready, so thankfully I don't have to. It's time to get started with the third map of the series and head on over to Icebox.
It's like one of those things where we talk about like comps of old. It's like you use one of two words, either antiquated to say something's out of style, or retro to say like, hey, remember this thing that was cool once and maybe it'll work again? This is different though. This is neither of those things. We've got Harbor in the mix now for Core with the Viper, so lots of control. They also are bringing a Killjoy, so I mean, this is legitimately read and react style comp for Core, whereas for Troop, they are bringing the Gecko with the KOs. This is very familiar to what they ran previously, but they do get B-Dog on the Jet, which again feels right.
Yeah, at the end for Core, the change that you have with this double controller is just to be good right now on your defensive side on being able to retake, right? With these cascades and the high tides on top of the Viper wall, just to isolate your retakes into the sites. And of course, you're going to dome up when you're actually going to try to defuse. So I think on the other end, though, for Turtle Troop, it's nice that you have some ways to deny that from using a KO Molly, a Mosh, a Viper Molly, and just using good util to try to prevent that from happening. So it's a nice little chess match that we're going to see between these two teams. As though for Turtle Troop, you won't see the Sage coming out. They're just using something that they used previously against Oxygen Esports.
Yeah.
But both of these teams, what's at the core, and I forgot to add that, is the Killjoy too. The Killjoy is going to be able to add a lot of value in terms of information you're able to get if there's going to be some late lurks coming in from pipes or from under tube, and that's from placing that turret around various areas around the middle to make sure you get that information for the team and react on time. So that is going to be in the responsibilities of two players that play this agent very well, being Adder and Ziv.
I like the call. It's a good breakdown. And to be fair, it is a necessity. This isn't just like a, you know, hey, that'd be nice if this happened. Like, no, if you're going to find value out of this comp, that has to happen. So, see how things kind of go here for Core, seeing if they can bounce back, refine their playbook. And again, the history's not great on this map, but there's also like an issue when it comes to like, if you have a hard set veto, which we've often seen for the side of teams like Core, split being their map veto in particular, it will force you to have to play maps you're not great at. And last time we saw this map was way back in week 2 of season 1, but it wasn't good. It was a 213 count versus MXS. So,
yeah,
you know, we'll see. It was a very different comp, obviously. That's the other part of the picture in terms of how you talk about it. Whereas, you know, MXS, they're not ones that usually mess around too much with comps. They kind of ran this comp, actually, looking back at the results from it, and they found a lot of value, on particular from their Viper. So, kind of a lot of attention towards Sir Snarls to see if you can kind of replicate what happened to them when they last played this map, at least in the competitive form.
Yeah, and now let's look at it too from the roles perspective, right? So any map from Turtle Troop that doesn't need a jet, then you're gonna have Corey play that duelist role to create that space for the team, because you need somebody that's gonna be able to play the initiator role, and that's gonna be the swap between B-Dog and Corey. But now that you get to play a map like Icebox, then it's nice to see B-Dog back on that jet. That's gonna go head to head against Zeldris at this point. So this is gonna be a good one. Was while we wait for the flybys, that we'll give you a quick update here, chat. We're just waiting for one of the player cams to set up, and then we can get into the game ASAP as soon as that's done. So we're just yapping along here as we're waiting for the pistol round to start. But to get back into that conversation is, B-Dog found some great value.
Yep.
Still playing, an agent in that previous round as Sage, where as soon as he places his utility, is still able to get into good positions and be useful for the team for insta kills or insta trades.
Yeah,
now he's going to have to be the one that's going to be the spearhead of things and be the one that's going to find those opportunities and not just Corey.
Yeah, and I like the call when you talk about him on stage, is like place your stuff and then go frag. Like it's legitimately battle stage, where maybe that's where like the underlying, I won't say issue, but like the trend maybe is like when he's playing Gecko, he feels like he has to be picking up utility, throwing utility. He's not really wielding the gun maybe as much as he's used to. I don't know, hard to say. All speculative to be sure, but B-Dog on Jet, not to be taken lightly. On the other side of things, talking about this core gaming team at large, outside of this matchup, just as a full squad, I think one of my initial worries about this team, looking at their team on paper, was, were they going to get duelist diffed? Because at the moment, that they put this roster together and we saw Zeldris starting to play the duelists, he's doing fine. But, when you compare it to your Oxygens, your Turtle Troops, your MXSs, your M80s, you had all these squads that had a clear-cut great duelist. Zeldris really did step into that spotlight, though, by the end of stage 1. I was like, okay, you know what you're going to get out of Zeldris. He may have a fluke map here or there, but the guy is talented. How often do you think, though, in this matchup, this map may come down to the 1v1 between Zeldris and B-Dog, pending that they both prefer to be that entry style, which you figure they will be?
Yeah, I mean, I feel that it's going to happen often, maybe not in terms of head-to-head, in terms of how you're trying to create the space.
Right,
because I think for most of these strats, when you're trying to work a map like Icebox, is trying to figure out where that opera is going to be. And when you're trying to scale across the map here on a map like Icebox, you're going to need to use that util first and not try to go for just a head-on jet versus jet to start things off. But expect both of these players to have these aggressive positions and try to maximize that opportunity for first blood, which is especially looking at the compositions that you're currently seeing played from this double controller from Core. I think your jet's going to be playing more towards this B side on top of yellow, because a lot of that focus is maybe trying to get the cascade pushed forward to grab orb, right? A lot of these teams playing this double controller with the harbor will try to focus a orb control on defense, cascade up, grab the orb, trying to run away, get support, and use the reckoning for the retake site, because that is your winning condition. Having such a good, strong composition to play flood retakes, and the reckoning is going to be a great tool for that as well, because you're just not allowing your opponents to set up to try to spray when you're throwing an orb, because you've cleared out the site already on the diffuse.
And is there any better combination of ultimates in the game than the potential of combining any of the two of the three between Lockdown, Reckoning, and Viper's Pit? Like,
there you go. Yeah. That's impressive as hell.
It's so hard to deal with. So there's definitely a lot of opportunity, but it comes down to the execution at the end of things. And, well, the yapping is over, friends. Let's lock in.
Perfect.
Inch forward.
I thought you were saying done yapping for like the whole game and just let the
Dude,
action
could you imagine
unfold.
what do you think Knights Arena would do if we just stopped commentating? I'm
Let's
sure people
find
in
out.
chat right now are like, thank you. I know how Valorant chat is.
I done it. Right, chat? I done it, right? But lots of ghosts. We talked about how this is going to be a bloodbath from the beginning, right? So 5 ghosts on one end for the team of Core, and they've already lost one of it, while for TTR, you do have a bit more on your end, or a bit less, rather. 4 ghosts in a classic, but the trades are in favor of Core to start.
And this is one of the things about Harbor. It's just so much area denial so quickly. Zal just getting forward up top. Finds himself a lot of damage plus kill. Follow-up is good from Core, and it leaves it to a 3v4 with a low health pool here on Corey. Just one flash for him to play with. So a lot of the focus rests with what Stellar and Adder can do. on this take towards A. Knife will reveal no one's home. If they can get this spike planted cleanly, there's an opportunity here to use this as a good post plant setup.
It'll happen. Actually, there's one shark dart available still, so they're just gonna have to avoid that for. Oh, Seller's gonna eat it, but thankfully he's full health. So here's a free plant coming in now, and that's what you wanted. And you saw while TTR was scaling up inside this A site that the orb got picked up by QOR, right? So Nerve already picked it up on his end. So keep an eye on that.
Well, the Dizzy doesn't work out. The follow flash is decent. Adder turns that into a double. Does get traded up, but his job is done. Now it's on to Corey. 1v2. Cannot take a bullet worth of damage.
No orb. Wait, it's for him.
This is an incredible long. Wait, are we kidding right now? Wait.
Wait for 10?
Yeah. Does he get out? Oh my gosh. Oh, but the slide. That was comedy. Watching Starly just cha-cha slide on the rope over.
At first, I was like, yo, this is so sick. Weird mechanics. And then Valorant. And then Valorant repel across zip line, 90% accuracy on a rope, and get the kill.
Oh,
but everything leading to that, though, at least you're seeing that there's still some fight within TTR at a player disadvantage, and they're still able to turn it around. So both teams will have to show a lot of respect to each other to make sure that they stay on top of their game. If not, this is definitely going to be a potential upset for QOR or for TTR, a labored victory in this series.
We got an even buy coming in around number 2 here with the kills plus the plant for Turtle Troops. They're going to have Stingers and a Guardian. Outlaw is out for Zeldris. We've seen what he can do with this weapon earlier. This time he gets pushed off the angle, though, and he tries to force the double peek. Maybe thinking it could just be pistols, but that's not the case. And now QOR have to retreat back into sight, look for some safety as Turtle Troop will dash on in towards A, trying to find a plant in their own right. B-Dog, bold as it is, steps on into the mix of the defensive setup and comes away 2 for 1.
And that's a huge piece of util that's gone here for the retake because Nerf doesn't have to hide that to help the rest of the team come in. And when you're not playing a flash agent for those retakes, this is going to be so difficult, especially with Zeldris at 15 HP.
Well, Stellar makes life a little bit easier for the post plant. And, well, the rest of this core team has to try to find some sort of a miracle. They nearly get out of Ziff. Zeldris able to punish with another elimination, but all things told, this post plant will hold. And we're going to get a very interesting round 3 here. QOR is going to, of course, probably be on pistols, but Troop will be on some sort of a bonus. But
yeah,
it's going to be a weird ecosystem, I'll say that much.
Spike plant and a victory. That's 3,300 across the board, so you should be able to get some half shield armor for a couple of these players. But that said, definitely for chasing the kills, trying to get the Outlaw out of the hands of QOR, it was a little bit of overheat with a drop down and miscommunication because there was some body blocks that didn't allow for you to get the kill onto Zeldris. And looking at the buy, I love this actually because of the 3,300 credit that you're only getting. I was mentioned that it was going to be half buy with small shields and Vandals, but the Outlaw's still alive here for Zeldris. So you're going for full shields and Guardian just to make sure they could survive the trade against Zeldris.
The 4 Guardians is a choice. Okay, Bulldogs in the mix. Ooh, we're going to get some action here over towards this bottom side at B. Oh, it's a double stack in the corner. The knife isn't going to reveal any of this. Oh, but the corner is checked. Sloppy. Snarly pops out, finds 1. But do they know there's a second? Oh, how punishing can you make this if you're Nerve? The answer is not at all because the pushback is already underway. That would have been an opportunity, to say the least.
Yeah, anticlimactic at that point, but it's a good call by Adder and Stellar overall. With the turret not seeing anybody pushing forward, and now TTR realizing that the stacks towards the B side, they know that it was a 4-1 weak side towards A. So you leverage these full shields that you purchased just to make sure that you could brute force inside the A site and get those trades, at least against the Outlaw. And that knife, gonna spot him. No dash available here for Zeldris.
Yeah, but he just wants to hold this anyways. Just get a look at it. Wingman making its play in. Adder's got the sentry turret, which actually very well may be activated here in the near future, and he has not taken his focus to the front fully yet. Timing here could be perfect for Adder, and it is. Does he see the toes of another? Sure does. Nerve is caught, and well, there's just not much you can do from here. So it all rests with Zeldris on that Outlaw. He's been holding it for a while. And well, good luck.
Finally, as the chat catches up here, Shift, they did say, unironically, I wish I could watch a game with no commentators. Chat, you have no idea how boring it would be. No idea.
Oh no. Twitch chat continues to Twitch chat. It's just the way it is.
I love you guys.
Here. Here.
Well, 2-1, and now we start to get back towards this is a bonus. This is bonus for the side of Troop, where you're going to get essentially full weapons for Core. Of course, the knives will be the full weapons for Zeldris here, having a great start for what it's worth, 6-2.
And they got rid of the outlaw that was picked up here by B-Dog in the end, or unless he just switched into a rifle to buy a Guardian. But nonetheless, for Core's side, they still have a Bladestorm to work with around this buy, so it's pretty decent with the updraft trying to look through. I mean, this is going to be red here by TTR. That's why the orb comes up instantly. With the high tide that comes up towards the A site, this is going to force TTR to have to use some util if they want to rework back towards the A site. But remember, they have a Thrash. That's going to be very difficult to deal against.
Well, it gets deleted pretty quickly. Should be recoverable, though. That's the thing. Zell just trying to hold. Zip up top in kitchen. That does well. There's more down low, though, and Zell just picks it up beautifully. Yeah, just no one's getting this Thrash back. Sorry to tell you. Cascade comes forward. Stellar at least able to find one trade. Weeded at range gets another 3v3. And now it's just down to, can you actually commit for the spike plant? Because you don't fully know who's around the back, but does it make a difference when Weeded is able to hold the rotation? And you've got a long lurk from Stellar over towards A, but do you really flip this fully with 43 seconds?
You got to start walking, and you try to find that surprise kill there onto T-Dog. They don't know that T-Dog's top of heaven. So if they're trying to walk forward, they might get caught, and this is the better play now. The better read to cross over towards this A site. Now the shots finally came through towards Orange, so they know that Zip is there. Now he's forced out. And there you go. T-Dog will confirm that the last two players are towards the B site. So this is now a free plant, but Corey's going to be the solo here.
Oh, and the timing there is great.
Unless that happens, Nice shot by Stellar.
I was just about to say, like, this is dangerous because if you self-isolate like this, things can get weird, and that's unfortunate. T-Dog hits the sentry turret with the shock dart, which would have killed Stellar. So now it's just down to T-Dog. He does have full health to play with, but this is a tough post punch to try to break down. Stellar has re-wrapped all the way deep, and T-Dog is trying to hunt for him first.
Yeah,
no one home here
as well.
This time is going to take too long, and it looks like it's going to just be a save.
I mean, he's going to try to potentially find some exits to make it expensive. That's why he's watching from bottom two. But yeah, overall, still showing here that under the chaos, it's still TTR having full control now of their attack side. That force buy that happened on that second round for Turtle Troop, and then lost 3 players in the process. You know that this was going to go really back and forth in terms of low economy, weird buys for the next couple of rounds, and it's still going to continue that way. Probably until the next one.
Wow. What a weird... Whenever we get those even buys in round 2 and it flips the eco like this, it feels like the entire half of this map doesn't start till round 6.
Yep.
Like, I feel like we haven't actually had full buy versus full buy, 5 versus 5 yet. And by the time that we do, there's going to be 20 ultimates on the table.
Yeah, it's going to get pretty hectic very soon, definitely. Yeah. Or at least for now, maybe some of those could get activated right away because TTR are moving quickly towards this B side, and any type of entry they could get here will activate one of these ults. And you saw a little bit of prioritization around these orbs just to try to get one ult up sooner than later on the attack. But yeah, it seems to be just a regular retake play coming out from TTR. I like that they're... Oh, yeah. Continue. Take it over.
Wow, okay. Flash trying to step an extra bit forward. Oh, but... Okay. Nanostorm still lasts, works out well. And now it's just down to Adder. Spike is planted. Adder with the snap! Almost! But no. And that legitimately just comes down to the fact that Troop, they're thinking no one's on site. I'm going to flash over the poison wall, push forward. But wouldn't you know it, as soon as the wall goes down, there's 2 guys sitting in cubbies with sheriffs.
Yeah, I apologize. I just did the weirdest screen. I didn't even know my voice could do that type of screen. But yeah, I do agree with you. At this point, though, I was going to say I love the tempo that TTR brought up because they knew they had to play against a Hunter's Fury coming out from T-Dog. And that, you know, T-Dog's going to use it on an eco if the timer runs down and TTR doesn't move as quickly. Right. And that said, for them to pop flash, it was still a nice play by Turtle Troop because now you're hoping that you're blinding some players across the wall and you're able to get some better trades. But it's still Sheriff. It's still Sheriff. It's still Valorant. Sheriff is so good on this in this game. that it could counter any type of aggression if you're in the right spot. And Core, they made it look easy towards the end, and that Hunter's Fury also helped out
Get out of my way.
to not allow TTR to set up here for these trades, to get a thrifty against TTR. And again, it continues this weird storyline of this weird buy that will continue on from these two teams.
Well, Lockdown looking to go early here. Again, no counter. At least not in the form of a Hunter's Fury. T-Dog still over the top, nearly collected onto 2. Doesn't fully work out. Zeldris staying a little longer than maybe he would have liked to, since the damage had already come out, but it'll be Blades to zone off the rest of this, and now it's just down to the timing of Lockdown on the other side if they want to make a play for a retake, and here it comes.
But a counter Lockdown is so far out because of that Thrash. So everybody could play safe and turtle inside the map, but they decide to pull back instead towards jail, and we just died.
One detainment comes through. Core maybe has an opportunity to utilize their numbers. Look at the quick rewrap though from Adder. He is on his sprint all the way back to the middle of the map. Ziff, B-Dog trading out. Ziff still dealing damage. He finds Adder. That's massive. Now Troop had to somehow find a way to hold this from the front. Mosh, post-plant Molly's looking decent, but Zeldris forces the issue forward, and it's the shorty to give him his 3rd kill with enough time for Snarly to finish off the defuse. We're tied at 3.
Oh my god, yeah, and because they were actually running forward here from Boiler, everybody was moving up towards Pipes. Was the perfect call in communication here for Ziff just to get ready for that. Adder could have had the playmaking round for the team of TTR on that pulse plant. And now finally we sort of break the economy on the side of Turtle Troops. You had to pull out our hero rifle, and you're buying around that again. These rounds that have been low so far for both of these teams have rendered to be successful. But they're going to have to come up against the op here of Zeldris at the beginning. On one end, though, continuing 3 players towards the A side. On the defense for Core. And Turtle Trooper looking to pop here just under the tube once again.
Bot coming back.
What a swing. We have had 1 round in which both teams have had full purchase. And now all of a sudden, Core start to flex their muscles just a touch as the first 2 kills go their way with this push through tunnel. And yeah, the crazy antics of this one have largely been thwarted pretty much as soon as the barriers dropped. Zeldris also reading the sentry turrets being tested by Stellar. Alarm bot placed in a nice spot to keep Corey at bay. And yeah, there's just no way this works out for Troop.
Unless Stellar could do something right now. Remember, he is the one with the hero rifle, and he's found good timings in the past against M80 on Ascent. Remember with his Guardian. About to come head-to-head against Snarly here. Baiting out the shots coming out from Snarly at the top of Orange. This gives a chance now for Corey to come out. Oh, couldn't get the kill.
Yeah, the alarm.
Now the plant's done.
It's just such an easy alert system. Zeldris, Shorty. Actually, the first shot kind of missed. That was awkward. This whole engagement is awkward. But it's a flawless round for Core. And this tug of war continues to just swing back and forth, back and forth. 3 for 1, 3 for you. Now we go to round 8. We're back to full weapons for both sides.
What did we say this map was going to look like, right? After the one-sided display on both ends, it's one team doesn't want to give the comfort for the other to just have the better, macro around playing the map like Icebox, and it's just going to be a brawl, and it started off with that 4 spot in that second round. And also, looking back at the history of both of these teams, it hasn't been the best results for both of these teams on this map, so expect for this to be rather brawly from both ends.
Super scrappy. No command spent here early. Troop is trying to keep the pedal down here. And that is enough for B-Dog to push further into the site. Nanoswarm doesn't really stop much of this hit whatsoever. Mosh pit thrown deep. Weeded trying to hold the opposite corner. No command going to fade here in a moment. Stellar on the plant. T-Dog still very patiently holds the corner. Viper's pit to reinforce. Now T-Dog's position known, but the high-low setup is good. Core find first blood, but now the problem here, Vancilli, is how do you clear out the pit?
Easily, because right now it doesn't cover the back of the site, so it allows for the players to just play around the dice. But unfortunately, Star was alone.
Well, Weeded has still kept the integrity of the smoke good. Zeldris may force him to move. He's the only one who could really contest this post plant. Stellar tries to spam it out. No one home. Here's the follow-up. Not essentially clean for Weeded, but it still works out for one. Dizzy over the top. Ziv at low HP. Dealt with. Now it's just down to Nerve. He's got to stick it inside the cove. Stellar, you have to go inside of it. Wait, Nerve pops off. He finds the kill. Does he have enough time to secure the rest of the defuse? Yes, he does with 0.2 to spare. What a play from Nerve.
And that's why that bubble that comes through, we talked about it before. Getting that crucial kill onto Weeded in that pit allowed here the orb to come up, and you saw the labored spray coming out, the weapon switch. I don't know if he ran out of bullets on that second gun that he picked up, but it ended up being such a beautiful clutch in the end here, coming out from Nerve, playing a harbor role for the team. Let's see right here. Stellar's gonna pick it up, 8 bullets. It breaks. He's got 2 bullets left. And it was still a great read from Stellar at that point, because he just felt that his opponent was going to stick that spike. Yet he has to flick with 2 bullets to try to get the kill. Both teams played it perfectly, but now QOR finally takes the lead by 2. Force buy.
Yep, I was going to say, Economy still keeping TTR, playing off that same identity. QOR rotating over quickly. They will not have Snarly for a while. And the timing may work out for Troop to get themselves a post plant that they can work with. They cannot play this deep. They cannot afford to. You have to stay close with these stingers. Thrash at the ready. If Stellar can find a way to use it, he pops it immediately. Knives up and over for Zeldris, and it goes from high to low pretty decently, but Troop still deny things out. Thrash working out decently, but QOR's weaponry still finds a way to find advantages. Just down to Stellar. Not going to take the better of Ziv. And we've got a 6-3 cushion, and now the economy of TTR starts to become a little bit more waning as we head into the late stages of this first half.
And as I mentioned, it was a force, but it was actually a half buy enough to get a plant as well. So you're still hurting the economy of your opponents. Yes, they're starting to build up the economy for QOR, but you're forcing some big buys going into round number 10. And you also have your own plant, so you have a gun round in your favor as well here for TTR. The thing is right now, it hasn't had a chance to get enough so that B-Dog can try to get an op on the attack. So they have to continuously go for these pumps into the sites. But you're also seeing the results towards the end. Look at this. Even towards the last 5 rounds, it's been 4 defuses for QOR. So the gist of it is how good they are on playing the retakes with this double controller. And TTR really can't fight back into it, because if they're not playing lineups and they're not playing post plant spams from the belt, they are trying to play inside the site so you could stay within the high tides. But QOR, when it comes down to that moment, they're able to get those perfect trades in the end. And now if you're going to try to do it again, you have to play against a lockdown and a reckoning.
Yep. I haven't seen the reckoning used as of yet, but this seems like a round worthwhile, possibly at least. Zeldris already drops. That's your biggest re-entry tool. And once again, this tempo from Troop is giving them post plants almost every single round they want them, because the defense is just not here in time. So they're forced to have to play retake. And lockdown will be spent first. Once again, that pushes the majority of this out, but is there a way to finish this off? Reckoning going to be spent behind it. Molly's being spent on both sides, as now all of a sudden the lockdown will fade. Snarly going to get this at least a half. Steps off of it. T-Dog, who's already pushed forward, tries to make a mess of this post play to try to get back onto site, but Nervous holding it the entire time. He gets taken down just before the defuse comes out, though. And Adder will save the day. I mean, that cove and that shot to kill must have come through at the last second.
Oh my God, it had to be. It just had to be. And it was a beautiful idea with that lockdown to push everybody back with the reckoning, and a nice attempt for Zeldris to push all the way forward. We mentioned it. What was still left here on the pulse plan if you want to play against the cove? They threw the snake bite at the beginning, then actually the fragment got the kill before, QOR got the defuse at halfway before the fragment killed the diffuser. And then lastly, it was a mosh that came through, but that was needed with the wallbang more than the mosh, because if they just let that go, that was a full diffuse coming through. And there's that first face-to-face op finally.
Yep.
Having the economy for TTR to get an op out, and they managed to find success out of it.
Oh boy. So now once again, QOR had to find a way to scramble in a 4v5. And Snarly's playing forward. Oh, and he gets dealt with. He had first 3 shots. Could not find the connection onto Stellar. Dizzy pops out. Adder getting closer to another lockdown of his own. And the wingman will get to work trying to get this plant off. T-Dog up top.
Take flight.
Actually,
no, it's a wingman fake again. It's just like the first pistol round on Bind. It works.
So now how do you retake? I mean, yikes. And money's low here. You may need to consider a save in some regard. If Nerve can't find an opener, whoa, which he does very cleanly, but Corey unexpectedly secures the trade. And then also gets the read on the Ziff up top. Although, Ziff continues to keep this interesting. Do you get a
Ninja
swap
spot
off
from
the
Corey,
weapon
though.
here? T-Dog, yeah, he swaps off the op. So now you're playing a full-out 2v3. Stellar low on HP. Corey, though, unknown up top. And, yeah, there's nowhere Ziff could go from here. We go 6-5 through 11.
That was the only thing. Corey was left unattended, unaccounted for, and he was able to get that free kill in the end. If it wasn't for that, maybe there was a doable situation there for Ziff because he was landing some sick shots towards the end. But yeah, another one of those so those beautiful fakes coming out here from Stellar. I mean, what was it, B-Dog on Bind before? Because he was the one that was playing Gecko. But no, sorry, I'm thinking of a map previously as well.
I think.
Yeah. No, it was TSM's game, no? There's been so many games today.
I'm old, I don't know.
But you know what I'm talking about. The Gecko fake that they had towards that B site, the same thing that we're seeing towards this Icebox map.
That was on Bind. That happened last map.
Yeah, it couldn't be B-Dog, though, because he was playing Sage. That's why I'm a little confused.
No. It wasn't B-Dog. It was
yeah.
It was on Core side, right?
Yeah.
What? Maybe?
No.
I don't know. I just work here.
Last round. Null command available for Core here so that they can actually try to pump in a different spot because Core, realizing the amount of times that TTR have been working towards this A site, they decide to put the Viper Spit in that spot. So Turtle Troop just getting ready for a null command back towards his B. Maybe it is time to put us on mute.
Yeah, maybe. Null command span. Cascade will fall. All of the defensive Viper utility gets placed. Wingman working on the plant through the poison cloud and is successful. Knife will also come through. That should surely, reveals 2. So B-Dog will feel pretty confident in his ability just to hold this angle for anyone else rotating in, which for Core, they're actually all rotating right on top of the spike here. Good shock dart, does connect. B-Dog misses his first. Still has the knives in the back pocket. Zeldris forces some attention back over towards the spike. Here comes the flash and the retake over towards yellow. Shots are clean. 2 for Zeldris.
One enemy.
Time becoming a bit of an issue, but the pinch is also good, and we did the last one. Standing drops quickly. We're going to have a 7-5 half of what has been a very close game of Icebox.
And that's why it gets very difficult once again to play against a double controller because when you're trying to retake this side or play the pulse plant and the high tide comes through and Cascade blocks the vision of you trying to retake or play those util, those sprays across. It just shows here that it's such a good round coming out here from Core. But dude, was there a team flash? Because right now Core is not playing any flashes in their composition. I'm seeing 2 guys at yellow just fully blinded.
Yeah, must have been.
So maybe there's a missed throw there coming out from Corey, unfortunately. But it's going to put TTR in the lead by 2 rounds here in this fifth run. And just to correct myself, it was actually Adder playing the Gecko on that previous round where they threw the fake. Yeah. But it still works, right? It was still the idea of TTR using that type of fake strat with the Gecko. There you go. We made it in the end.
We're there. Just need a little bit of help from our friends.
Chat.
Shout out VLRGG.
Yeah, and chat.
And chat. I never shout out chat. Hate those guys.
I do. I love them.
It's fair. You're a good cop. I'll be bad cop. It's fine. Whoa! Good shot from B-Dog. Snarly. Once again, he gets caught. That's the 3rd time he's been caught over that direction towards green, where he's just kind of taken a little bit too wide of a shoulder. And now all of a sudden, you are eliminated from having any option towards B. And you have to try to work your way into A with no Viper to try to clear the way. So this has got to be all on Nerve to get a good cascade, good high tide to separate out this site.
Yeah, and even for Stellar, he's got full kit with this Gecko. So his idea is just to try to delay the plant so this triple fate or this triple flank could come in. But it looks like Core wants to fight for this to start.
See if you can isolate. I mean, the thing is, Troop are fine having this battle right now. A little bit split focus now starting to come through. Spike being planted. High tide does block off both entryways. It does fade. Dissipates pretty quickly. Nice shots from Zeldris, forcing the issue up close and personal. But the envelope maybe gets pushed a little bit too far. Trade is in. Test here for Nerve that he's not equal to the test. So now it's just down to how does Core set up their post plant in a 2v4, or they're just dealing with ghosts. Up close and personal. 1-for-1 for T-Dog. Long range shots not going to land for Ziff, and Troop will take the second half pistol.
And a difference there of not having a cove for your defuse, but at least you have the wingman to help you out. So most of the bodies could just get ready to protect the wingman and fight here towards the belt. So well done towards the end for TTR. The punishment that it did on Snarly at the beginning of the round allows for them to move very quickly around the map. I mean, they've already pushed out towards the B site. You still had the utility from Adder that was watching the window here with the turret on Boiler. So TTR, they knew 100% that the hit was coming towards this A site. But because QOR was spending a lot of that time just trying to fight the flank before, it gave enough time here for Turtle Troop to close that gap and have a faster rotate towards screens.
Yep. Well, focus will be split for both sides, at least to start. Trying to feel out what's happening here in this round. Stellar up top, a very dangerous position to try to aggress into. And some respect will be given here for QOR. Zip is still looking to see if there's going to be an overshell in some direction, but with a classic, he's just playing for information as QOR will reset and make their motion over towards B.
And they're pinging for those as well, just to try to move forward. I think it's a high tide ping that they're trying to do right now, so they could try to get this plant towards this B site, and already you see Nerve setting up for it.
Not ready.
So maybe that the idea after this pulse plant is to fight within orange because they have these pistols. They do want to close this gap. What's the fake?
Yeah, but wow, and that's actually pulling all of the defense for True. I'm surprised they've bid on this much. I mean, a little nervy to be sure. And now, I mean, this is still not guaranteed that QOR can just walk into A, and the longer this takes, the more that Troop will start to regain footing back over towards the middle of the map. But are they going to try to pull this back again to B? I mean, get your steps in, why don't you, if you're QOR? And Troop are going to be completely baffled by this.
And if anything, it's going to give the players, once again, on this pulse plant to have such aggressive positions inside the spawn. It might catch some players off guard here. Remember, Sheriff's on Snarly, a Stinger on T-Dog. Yet they're going to play the pulse plant instead, playing the longer distance. Two nanos available for Ziff.
Yep, that's
and he's
it.
lining them up.
And a cove, potentially, if you want to try to block off some site. Wall goes up for the offense. T-Dog steps on in. Nanoswarm is placed initially. Here comes Troop on the retake. Largely all of it from the container side. Initial trades are good. B-Dog just snapping with the Marshall. Stellar follows up with the Guardian. Now it's just down to these last couple of members deeper, which Ziff gets one. But the problem is, Nanoswarm doesn't really get into play fast enough. Corey will drop, but he's not going to be able to get in time to find the second unless he can find the kill in a Weedon. Not going to happen. And we're tied back up again, this time at 7.
Ooh, I thought that it missed at some point because I wasn't seeing Corey's HP going down, and finally I do see it after he was trying to get the defuse. Got it halfway at least and give a chance now for Turtle Troop to get the defuse in the end, but that was, once again, I mean, both of these teams, I mean, it kind of looks like it's puggy left and right, but the calls that are quick and on the fly from both of these IGLs being T-Dog and Stellar on how they're selling these fakes and getting these plans is actually quite nice.
Oh, yeah.
Look at the bonus that you have now for Turtle Troop. It's abysmal. 2 Guardians, no shields on B-Dog. They have an opportunity for QOR in this buy to keep it very healthy within the next.
Yeah. Shots are decent for B-Dog. Wow, good trade from Corey. At range with the Ghost. Hunter's sure going to be called. This is an expensive round here for QOR. And they're still not able to get Corey out of sight until Zeldris finally is able to find him. So, okay, that should lead to a plant. And likely with that, the round. 2 Guardians and a Frenzy is what's left to battle with if you're Troop on the retake.
And a Molly missed too. They were trying to deny it by throwing that mosh. So this allows here for the players to play for Generator, for the lineups themselves. T-Dog has 2 shock darts. Zeldris was staying on the top of 410 to get information, and now you can just play the delay.
Yeah. Oh. Man, when you get shots like that land perfectly through smoke or a toxic wall like that, you have to feel like God's greatest gift to Valorant. It's like, I'm him. I'm like, what?
And Stellar, unfortunately, looking away, thinking that somebody was flanking her across. I mean, I guess he heard Nerve. I was trying to do more econ damage if he could. But has done enough. If you're looking at it right now, you got a couple of hash shields across the board.
Yep.
B-Dog going with an op instead of the Outlaw. But at least they were able to get that out quite early for Turtle Troop on the defense.
Big ass to see if B-Dog can lock this down with the op too. We've
Yeah.
seen this a couple of different times from him, where if he gets an op in hand, you trust him to essentially be the lone warrior on one side or the other.
Standing ahead.
And he will try to play with a little bit of assistance from Stellar early to get the angle towards A. Everything else is heavy stacked forward, mind you. Around the B side, at least initially, Cascade Wall will kind of force back the defense just a touch. Plus, Adder's got a lot to read if
He's
this
just gonna
hit
bounce
through
on a
mid
turret.
ends up coming through.
You can't swing into this. I think what's missing so far here from Core on how they're working this site is not throwing a molly from Ziff on a top of boiler to break that turret. Because all you're going to do here for Adder is wait for the turret to come to pop, and he's going to swing off of this.
Okay, now our observers are just flexing that they know all the hotkeys.
Naked Gun 2.5. I don't know if you've seen that movie, but that's
Of
basically what's
course
happening
I
right
have.
now. Chat, it's a movie from like the 1980s. I know we're giving our age, but there it is. The turret, he swings out, but unfortunately, no kill. At least he got info on 2.
Yeah, it's true. But Core, stacked up still, are just going to walk through middle. This is being watched by Stellar. He has to see this. Otherwise, B-Dog is dead.
30 seconds left.
He gets the first. Wow.
That one. Wow.
Heck of a reposition. Adder also through mid. Helps out just a touch. Now the alarm bells start to ring. Even though B-Dog does drop inside the site, the rotation over is being held nicely. That's going to be a plant for T-Dog. Ziff is still locking down these defenders from rotating over from B. There is a bit of a second guess in terms of are they coming through mid. They could also come around all the way in the back. And the knife will also reveal that Ziff is still lurking over towards the backside at mid ramps. Corey over the top, not seen by the Aldron. The barrel, of course, is seen on the We Did. T-Dog avoids the majority of the first flash, but not the second. And now Corey can try to hop it. Nano.
That's a quick lineup. Halfway.
Is it there? It is. Just barely. Gets 2!
No.
What?
I had to focus for a second. My here.
That was sick by Ziff, though. If anything, that 2v2 was played beautifully by both Ziff and T-Dog. Even if T-Dog dies right here, the owl drone that he went up, and it was like, hey, he's just watching and holding the angle against you. Don't peek out and don't try to push through with throw the nanoswarm from screens. Come back to me towards main. I'll try to delay. He delayed enough. And then the nanoswarm, even though it missed, it allowed here for Ziff to get in a better position when TTR just lined up on the top of green, of 410. What a good read for Ziff to know there was at least going to be one player there, and luck on his side. Both of them showed up.
And now you got TTR just on knives and
You
pistols.
should run.
Whoa. Lockdown spent. Chance for Core to go quickly if they want to. Alarm bot also placed just to make sure they have a little bit of a safety net on this post plant. High tide reinforces the hit. This should be a free plant. For Troop, I mean, I feel like you need to have a kill first before you use the thrash, but they're going to use it anyways, and it just drops. B-Dog trying to clear space. A little bit of help. Hunter's Fury coming into the play. Adder's able to get the opener. Zeldris flashed. B-Dog's on the hunt off the reset. Here we go. Flash is decent, though. Core still holding. Stellar out for the defuse. T-Dog denied. And Troop battle back off of a Thrifty. It's just a series that keeps on providing.
Oh my God, a plenty. Bountiful on top of that. Hey, I'm going to do another Blinn Esports pun there. Bountiful for sure. But yeah, that was sick coming out from TTR. Even though the thrash was used, it seems like a little bit early. It just allowed there to give enough space for B-Dog to get towards screens. And then you have the timing, the high-low swing from top and bottom. You're pushing Zeldris away. And then the beauty of playing Corey as a flasher, as his KO, allowing for B-Dog to get even more space. The scaling that came back from TTR on the lower buy is a true masterclass on their end. Again, both IGLs, top IGL calling so far in this map. Hero rifle for Zeldris.
Yep.
And Sheris on the other end.
This is Core just trying to force their way forward in towards yellow. B-Dog, oh goodness. Zeldris does deny. That's 2 weapons down here. So hold on a second. You like Thrifties, chat? You may be in for more. 3v2 situation.
Aldron saw him.
It sure did. And it gets the tag. Weeded is not in a position to step in to possibly put a Viper's Pit. The Poison Cloud's all he's got. And Core have 60 seconds to play around with if they wanted to kill noisier.
Killed my bot.
At least I like it now for Adder that he's not forcing out the early lockdown, because that's just going to allow all players to scatter back here towards the A site. But look at this. He's watching mid for the cross, and he still has 2 nanoswarms to delay the plant on top of A site and also at default. So now they see the crossover, and if he delays enough, it'll give a chance for both players in the end here to come through and get the lockdown for the retake and then utilize the pit.
Well, problem is, they're going to have to clear the space first. Only one nanoswarm is here, and Zip is not getting hit by it. Yeah, zoom in as much as you'd like. Well, boy, pause.
I don't know why that just threw me off. I'm so sorry.
Lockdown not going to be spent here. Adder's just going to walk right on in. I mean, hello? Knock, knock. Anyone home? Are you kidding me? And now the lockdown gets placed. T-Dog has to back off. Oh, you have got to be kidding me. Shoulder scene. T-Dog is going to have to try to see this on the way back in. Weedon's going to get it way over half. And nope, there's no reason to deny it. I mean, that's how that round ends? Oh, oh my God.
Stay taut as a bowstring. The fight demands it.
Sorry, I'm catching up to chat. 5-minute delay. They're asking what movie we were talking about.
Oh, dude. Come on.
Yeah, you have to watch the chat. It's an 80s comedy. It's super worth. It's super worth. Maybe some jokes won't really pass in 2024.
I still think it does.
Yeah? I have to rewatch
Leslie
it.
Nielsen. He's all
it.
time. He's classic.
That is also very true. He's a classy man. But yeah, back into this game. So the macro around both of these teams, and again, the IGL that comes in from both, it just looks okay. I do agree in the end here that it looks very scrappy shift, because originally the call of what you're trying to do in the first place, it's great from both teams.
Sure.
But then it'll have to come down to, we're going to swing correctly. We have to swing correctly, rather. We have to trade correctly. And it's just going to go back and forth on whoever's landing those shots towards the end. I mean, that 2 versus 2 that you saw towards the end, it could have been anybody's once again. And you still had QOR on a Thrifty at that point and almost capitalize on that to maintain their lead. But now you have an opportunity, as you've tied up the game, to get the op back in your favor for B-Dog and for Zeldris to make plays with the Blade Storm. Sure. And how do you want to activate them? They want to go very quickly here towards this A site.
It's just one of the things, like, I use the word scrappy, and I think the connotation comes off as like, there's no plan, we're just going into battle. But I think it's more of the fact that, like, the expected result is not coming through based on any given moment in time in the rounds. Like, we're seeing a lot of very, very complex battle back that doesn't seem likely. So maybe unpredictable was the better word to be used. Zeldris knives out, looking to be the spearhead here, as the TTR defense is going to be playing very passively, very reactionary. Reckoning's also going to get spent here, so that should be a free site to take, at least initially. Shock Dart's trying to deny some of this plant, at least contest best they can. And Zeldris, okay, gets one, snaps over, but Adder denies. 1 for 1 goes the trade, and now the Viper Pit tries to get plays. Fragment is up, Smarly just barely staying alive. And the smoke integrity will hold for now.
At 3 HP. Pit is huge. Everybody has to funnel towards the right side, though. Adder's stepping up.
Huge double from Adder. Still, though, the problem occurs of how do we defuse this spike. Still a couple of players in place for this. Zip up top. Nerve down low. Corey tries to bait out a peek. Doesn't get it initially. Zip still good from the top. Able to just go from one to the other so darn quickly. And he gets damage onto everybody, but just not quite enough. 32 collective health remains.
Yeah, that HP remaining as he was going up and down and left and right like a cheat code, pretty much. That was insane coming through from Ziff. Remember the Nintendo cheat code to get 30 lives? Up, down, down, left, right. Was it AB or BA start?
AB start.
There you go. But yeah, that was a very nice attempt by Ziff towards the end. The fuse comes through, TTR back in the lead, and this is a story of both teams having great retakes with different compositions, right? Look at the amount of diffuses that are coming out here for our Turtle Troop versus how many came out for Core.
I mean, this has just been raw Valorant. Aldrone out. B-Dog off the angle at yellow. Corey nearby, and whoa, huge knife. Reveals everything. So players at mid now just have to kind of hold their ground for now. Adder is playing an off angle. right down mid-street. Doesn't see any of that cross, though. It's the only real issue, but still may get contact while he does, but the shot just grazes Snarly's left ear, and now it all rests on Weeded, playing from up high in his own Viper's pit, as here comes the entirety of Core through the rope.
Boy, to hit him. Snake bite, though, to try to keep it back. He sees inside the pit. There's a alarm bot. Oh, man, he just got swarmed.
Yeah. Love the call. All that changes if he doesn't get tagged out by that dart, but hard to react against it. Core now get their post plant. What is available for the retake? You're looking at the null command. But B-Dog on an operator. How does he get back into this? You're also still waiting for Stellar to get involved. I mean, there's a lot of tools that aren't here yet. They're still worried about what's coming over through mid. Core's gonna get the first touch. Doesn't turn into a commitment, but does get out the nano swarm. Nerve still holding deep. Null command not popped yet for Core. Still holding on to it. Here's the flank from Snarly. Only gets one. Hold on a second. Troops starting to frag a little bit. Back and forth we go. Pinstripe goes the kill feed. Added the last one left. Corey just trying to give him information from the low ground as he's kneeling over. He's going to be able to at least take down one T-Dog off the swing. We'll confirm it, and we're still tied. Another Zippo clutch. This time we're at 10.
Oh, my God, T-Dog with that one as well. But those shots were sick coming out from Adder. I can't believe that every single one of these rounds always comes down to the wire.
Right here.
On how chaotic it's getting in his retake plays, and always down to that 1v1 or a 1v2 or even almost an opportunity to clutch at a disadvantage for both of these teams. But finally, it seems as though they finally broke the economy once again of Turtle Troop, and Core may have some room to breathe and maybe an opportunity to even close that or maintain that gap and take the series, because we're in the final rounds now of this series as well.
Yep.
And Core have the economy this time around.
Yep.
They'll have a crazy ult in the next round as well with the lockdown. Well, you don't really have it yet on the other side of TTR.
Close.
Might have to fight for OT if it continues this way.
Oh, gosh. That's an engagement that makes your skin crawl in a lot of different ways. Mosh gets placed. Cove is also up. Stellar. Impressive shot on his Eldris. And he's still close enough to possibly catch one on the exit, maybe. Dizzy denied. Adder, he'll drop. And, yep, Stellar will also fall to the snake bite. So things looking pretty calm here. 4v2, B-Dog would have to throw Monkey Wrench into the system, and his first challenge goes a bit awry.
One enemy remaining.
Yeah, same for Weeded. Just down to B-Dog now, an impressive first set of shots, but just too much to deal with, and Core will get to 11. But you do have Adder, like you mentioned, one off of a lockdown of his own now.
Yeah, but the good thing, too, for Core is that they didn't have to use their own lockdown, and also they have a Hunter's Fury. So even if Adder is starting to move this, you're now going with the chess match of ult versus ult. So at this point, you're trying to figure out if you could bait out this Hunter's Fury somehow against T-Dog to give yourself any chance to tie up this game, take the 12, or if not, have to play for overtime at this point too. So this is going to be a super important timeout. The first one, by the way, being called by TTR. As back and forth as it went, it seems as though Stellar felt that the team was still in control of what they needed to do this game.
Sure.
But now it's time to hit tab. It's time to figure out the state of the game and what Core has in hand and what economy that they currently have and what the tendencies have been coming out here for Core on the attack, so they could try to maximize on that. Maybe at this point, you're not allowing here Core to really set up for pulse plant positions and pulse plant scenarios. Yes, you found some success, but some of these towards the end started to slip.
Lots to talk through, because it's not just this round, it's also everything else leading up to possibly overtime. Which it kind of feels like how this map has gone, especially looking at the timeline. We very well may be in store for it. Thrash at the ready. Lockdown nearby. Hunter's Fury and lockdown on the other side, as previously mentioned. Full weapons across the board. Not full armors, though. Couple light armors in mix. Won't change much, you'd think, in terms of a setup, in terms of what Troop want to put together defensively.
Oh, they're trying.
Oh, boy. And B-Dog will dominate A from this position if you give him a chance to.
And the thing is, they haven't used a recon dart towards Belt, and they're going to use the Aldrone towards B. So at this point, you're probably going to have to body check going into A side for the lurk. But thankfully here for Core, they're just holding back towards the spawn still. 2-2-1 setup. But all this is still a good call here because of the position for B-Dog. Nobody's going to be moving yet. They're just going to focus more towards a B side hold.
And here comes the test for B-Dog. He's been in positions like this in the past. Does he get the connection here? He doesn't have his aim set up the right way. So he's got to dash out. Good damage is tallied, and that's going to force Troop to move their defense around a little bit just to help him out. Recon Dart will be allowed to stay up. Corey, little 1v1 here. Fragment spent, and isolation's perfect. Really well done. Troop get the first blood, but the hit over towards A still on the way.
You should run.
That's lockdown being used early. And right now, still in range of the turret as it just got broken by Adder, so they know there's
30
somebody
seconds
flanking
left.
across. Here comes the commitment to plant. Nice shot by Corey. A gap in the corner, and he gets the kill.
Thrash is also spent. Nerve cannot commit for the plant. Cove is going to be expired here. And now you're running out of time for Core. You have to commit. You don't have time to back out and go to B.
They're saving.
And they're just going to save? Wow.
10 seconds left.
What a big kill by Corey. Firstly, seeing Starly on the lurk, throwing the KO or the KO molly, and then calling out for Adder to come out the window from tube, or whoever that was coming out from the window of tube, and there was still somebody else on the other side of boiler. So they had a triple setup to just take down Snarly on alert, focusing on that first so they could have full prioritization of retaking the site on A site after. But yet somehow Corey was able to slip outside the radius of the lockdown and have the second most important kill to not allow Core to take control here of this A site. That was huge right now.
Unreal
Tied
stuff.
up game 11-11.
Yep.
Still a gun round coming out from Core. 2 players buying all the way down to 0. The tides have turned right now.
And this round's essentially the game for Core. You lose this one, you're struggling to put together something formidable in the next round. So this one is going to feel like a must win. On the other side, TTR have more than enough economy to purchase no matter the outcome of this round right here going into the next. Reckoning at the ready with the orb pickup. T-Dog still holding onto the Hunter's Fury. Adder still one away from the lockdown.
So they'll use the same wall and maybe a reckoning behind it to at least commit this time for a plant in this B site.
Reckoning
and
on
a Hunter's Fury too.
in combination. Weeded will drop. Lots of defensive utility off the board with that player dropping. No more Viper utility. Cove allows the plant to come through. And the post plant's going to be deep. And wow, you've got a shock dart at the ready. That's really actually about it. And a cascade. I mean, there's a chance here if Core get a little bit too bottled up that TTR could actually find some good value with their own utility here.
Chaos is going to come as soon as this Viper wall comes down.
Yep. Mosh over the top of yellow. Here comes the first push forward. Adder's able to get there to Dizzy. Not in a good spot. Or pardon me, it is in a good spot. Stellar gets it to halfway. Absolute mix fest over the top of the plant. 1v1. Stellar versus Nerve. Nerve gets the shoulder. Stellar still holding close. Tries to take the angle away. Toggles it again. It's the halfway. Nerve has to check this. There's a follow-up shoulder. And again, back and forth we go. Forcing the issue. Nerve with the win. Core get to 12, and we're going to have a full gun round upcoming to figure out if this is, well, maybe not, actually not at all.
There might be half shields and rifles for the players that that just died because, again, it's 3,300 across the board. But it started off so well here for TTR. Yes, despite them losing a player from the Hunter's Fury, you saw that B-Dog updrafted on the top of the boxes. I'm pretty sure he could still see above the walls if anybody's pushing out towards Snowman, and he didn't. Which then, and nobody did, rather, which allowed here for TTR to just set up for a flood retake towards this B site. And again, it comes down to a 1v1 on post-plant scenarios. This is insane how this map is going left and right. And now because they've used rather the Hunter's Fury for T-Dog and the Reckoning, they have no ults on their side.
True.
And you have the lockdown for the retake on TTR. So how do you counter that? I think you're going to have to try to push towards the spawn here and leverage the high tide and the utility you have for Core to try to fight towards the spawn of screen if you're going to plant here towards this A side. Because I don't think you're planning B. If you're planning B, then you're pretty much giving a free ult if you're trying to play post plant that you did further back towards green.
Right,
so
right.
Either you're fighting towards screens, either you're planning B and you have to fight towards the spawn.
The other issue here is with the lockdown in play, you only get the judge from T-Dog. You can't even afford a second shock dart.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of denial in any form for the side of Core. Definitely cards feel a little bit stacked against them at the moment, but execution is everything here, and it's going to be a very early 4-man stack over towards A. B-Dog, no reason not to pop the knives here with the rifle, so he's got that out immediately. And here comes the slow lurk up towards A.
The game plan's there. So it's up to QOR to hopefully punish some players that are just going to be out in the open trying to find an angle on a shot. Stellar lets himself be known, but they won't get the information that B-Dog is on top of screens.
Yeah, Recon Dart goes deep. Once again, B-Dog stays safe from this. Wall goes up. Also smoke with it. First knives, go, bit of miss. Splash is decent, but Troop with Stellar and Corey on a crossfire. Shut down everything to the choke point. Ziff can only take one. And it's looking like it's going to be OT or 1v5. Either way, I think anyone would be happy with the result. I just
even need to use the lockdown.
Yeah. This feels out of reach. What a crossfire defensive setup.
What did we tell you, chat? Winning convincingly on your own map picks in a brawl in the third map and even an overtime to happen. It's almost like you're holding a script.
Well, round will likely be forced to be contested by the clock here for Ziff. There's obviously no reason not to go for it, so he's going to have to make a play, but he's got absolutely no idea where Adder's gone off to, where B-Dog's gone off to. Nanostorms will get exchanged over through mid. Here's the check, and Adder's waiting with the judge.
With T-Dog's judge.
Yeah.
That's going to make things even more sour. But yeah, this is an overtime that's going to be very important. I'm pretty sure for TTR, they should expect this glass cannon to come out here from Zeldris.
Sure.
He's got this posted at the regular spot. I mean, he's played this this role and this spot quite often with outlaws, with ops. Just making sure that if it needs to dash away, he will be able to come back towards the spawn, and then they'll play the flirt retake. So they're not gambling right now on consistently having your get out of jail free card, rather, by having your strong agent being posted up on pipes.
Ready.
Glass cannons on both sides, though. Adder's bringing out the op.
Interesting.
Zeldris, yeah, I'll say. T-Dog taking one small step forward, but not a convincing one. Dizzy spent early. We've seen Troop on their offensive side like to go quickly. And Adder! He catches Zeldris, second-guessing his position. So Troop will find first blood. Wingman making its play forward. T-Dog there to meet him. Recon Dart at the ready. Pops it over the top. Stellar trying to stay active with a Dizzy. Oh, and it's so darn good from the backside. Stellar gets two. And it's all up to Sir Snarly for a 1v4.
Good luck. You mentioned you hyped him up at the beginning of this series. One of the key members and players of QOR dropping down, though. Unfortunately, does it with a short, but still switches up for a double kill.
He's still alive. Still a chance. Post-plant
Time's
mollies are
ticking.
all expended. But he has to challenge this. First shot goes awry. Snarly trying to force someone to peek from the top side at ropes. There's the sound cue. Adder, low HP, but no, the classic right click will work out with 1 HP. Lockdown on your body. Advantage Troop here in the first overtime.
I saw the vision because that was some game sense right there. If he actually gets the instant kill, the pit was going to come out. Of course, time was going to be of the essence, but you're adding that paranoia and a possible situation there for Snarly to almost win a 1 versus 4. Some mistakes showing up here in this overtime. We're not correctly watching each other's backs, but initially on how TTR entered that site was beautiful. The knife that makes Zeldris hesitate a split second because they're afraid of not having the dash allows Adder to swing out for the kill. And now B-Dog plays the opponent defense. Zeldris with a Vandal on the attack. So they are trying to be very quick on their hits. As we have map and series points now for TTR.
You got to keep in mind that QOR have been very successful in getting the spike planted, but their post plants have been a little shaky when they do falter on this offensive side. Troops retakes have been good. So now it's just down to, can't you even get the spike planted in the first place? The opening attempt over towards B is gone. You already mentioned the fact that B-Dog's operator is going to hold that the rest of the way. So now the defense can actually just stack. I mean, the utility stacked up at mid through Adder. They don't really have to worry about mid as much. So they're going to triple stack the backside of A.
The shock dart, though, is just one small piece of util that's trying to show that they're committing towards this A site. And now with the cascade, though, still a good position for B-Dog. And the shot.
Trade is good, though. That's going to force the defense to have to move around a little bit. And there's a lot of pressure onto Adder right now. He's got to be responsible for middle and this B push. Oh, but Corey gets a read on towards Ziff. That could just be a lurk, though. Doesn't necessarily show the hand of this hit, but TTR are fully committed to playing over the back and top side of this A site.
Nice delay.
Yeah, the Mosh will hit the choke point perfectly. Corey flash available. Softball tosses it over the side, but gets dealt with. Zeldris able to find the kill. Reveal deep at the backside of the site. Wingman denied. T-Dog has to stick this for the plant. He will get it off. We extend the clock.
Gun sticking out.
Now here comes the swing. Snarly down low with Zeldris. That's going to work out to a 1v1. Adder versus Snarly. For the game or for more overtime? The pick comes through, and Adder wins the 1v1. And with that, the series for Turtle Troop.
It will be the game after all. Adder popping off in the rounds when it matters. In the overtime rounds. The first blood with the up in the first round of OT. And the last kill on the 1v1 to close the series for Turtle Troop. What a fight going that we've shown, that we've seen rather, from these two teams. But holy crap, in this overtime, in that chaos, it was some great positioning that was called out now from Turtle Troop that seems like Core was not ready for.
I mean, we had a 13-2, 13-3, and then overtime. It felt appropriate that after both teams dominated on their map selections that we go to a neutral battleground and we get extra innings here. But what a match it was. I mean, flat out, from start to finish, you can obviously look back and take a lot away from the expertise that was shown by either team on their personal map selection. But here in
100%.
Icebox, a map that has not been necessarily kind to either of these two teams, for the fact that it goes overtime for all of the right ways. Yeah, it's pretty insane stuff.
What do you think, Sierra? Welcome back.
Thank you.
To the party again.
Thank you. I was enjoying listening to you guys chat. You know, I'm not like Twitch chat. I want to hear the casters at any point. But what a match coming on out. Considering how lackluster the first two maps were in this series, I was hopeful for Icebox, and wow, going into an overtime for this was incredible. An overtime that really could have been extended. This wasn't one-sided at any point. This was always down to the wire. Every single point here shift. I mean, at any point when one team starts pulling ahead and the next is just step in step, waiting to match them and try and overtake.
Yeah, I think the thing is, and we were kind of reflecting on the verbiage we were using throughout this series, and this map in particular, is, you know, a lot of moments that looked like they were going to go one way ended up going the other, which, you know, you could decide if you want to be a negative Nancy or, you know, a positive Paul on which side of the fence you want to stay on when it comes to that. But, like, it is one of those things that these two teams are obviously very, very tight in terms of where they are. And more importantly so, I think, you know, when you look at Core, their improvements are marked. But for Troop, how worried do you get about them when there's a series in front of them that does not include an Ascent or a Lotus? That's been their two bread and butter maps. You know, they need to add a third into the mix. And I will say, even though Icebox was fine, was it good enough to really be in the mix in terms of being a hard, solid map number 3 for them? Hard to say. I mean, the post-plant setups are going to be looked at very scrutinizingly for both of these two teams, I think. Just a lot of missed chances. But, you know, Core gave themselves every bit of a fighting chance here. A couple of key clutches. They were right there even on the first bloods. I mean, flat out, this was just a very thrilling game of Valorant here on Icebox.
Definitely.
Yeah, the calling as well, Vance, coming out from each team. I mean, we saw at one point Core fake towards one side, fake right back towards the other. I mean, both IGLs, each were just kind of stepping up over and over, and to keep both teams constantly swapping it up, I thought was just fantastic. Superb, actually. And we had some nice gecko fakes from Bind over to Icebox, and even Core is able to do the same thing with T-Dog and how they're trying to leverage here the utility coming out from the harbor for a double pump from B to A back to B. And it still turned out to be something that came into a positive result here for Core. So I think for both of these IGLs, I think
they're the strongest ones that we currently have here in the challenger scene. And there's a reason why T-Dog is doing these fun VOD videos that you could catch on his YouTube, because I mean, they're awesome. He's entertaining in the first place. He is well spoken, and secondly, knows the game in and out, which is why you're able to sometimes just think on the fly. Maybe not on that second map when they had to play against such a weird comp that Turtle Troop brought out on that second round, but when it's something that you're used to, like a map here on Icebox, he definitely did some great calling. But overall, there's been some masterclass from Stellar as well, and some great shooting by Corey, by the way, on that in the last leg of that second half.
Yeah, rip the fact that T-Dog's next video is going to be like how Core got decimated by TTR when coming out here, the self-kill. No, for real, great stuff coming out from both the teams. We got to talk about Turtle Troop, though, and I have Stellar on the line to chat a little bit more about the squad and that best of 3 that we just had. Congratulations on that win. Going right down to the wire in that map 3. We won't talk about the other 2 for that one, but that map 3, the IGLing coming out from both you and T-Dog. How were you able to stay one step ahead when he was constantly switching things up on you guys as well?
Yeah, I think I mean, reading into some of the tendencies, he was starting to do some like fakey stuff with Sova or like Harbor Util towards the end. As you can see, like in the last round of Icebox, we kind of had a hard read as to what they were doing. So that's just kind of something that, you know, occurred throughout the match and was, you know, helped us just close it out.
I mean, this was definitely back and forth on that one. And when we're looking at the back and forth of the first 2 maps, definitely in terms of you can have this one, we'll take this one. And I want to talk about that bounce back over on Bind and the composition switch that we saw coming on out, because we thought there might have been a change, but we didn't really expect to see the stage coming on out for B-Dog, since we haven't seen that on this map before. So why leaning into this agent?
It's something I played on 100T in the past, like way in the past, and it was just an agent that I liked, and I knew it'd throw a couple people off here and there, so it was just something we wanted to try with the Gecko. We knew it'd be pretty strong, so, you know, we practiced with it for the last like 2 weeks, and, you know, we liked it in the practice, so we tried to put it into play. That was it.
I mean, it was nice to see. I like the team switching something up as well, and we saw that Core was also trying to switch something up. In that second map, they were bringing out the Deadlock, which didn't seem like it was to the greatest effect considering the scoreline, but I'd love to take your thoughts on that agent, specifically on Bind.
I think they need to let us stick to playing Deadlock, honestly. I think they should put that to the side for now. I don't think they're the team to run Deadlock, to be fair. But on Bind, I mean, there's a good combo util, but I don't know. It was all right. I mean, I don't know. It didn't seem like anything special.
I mean, y'all shut it down pretty quick. So yeah, we definitely didn't get to see too much coming out of it. Now looking for Turtle Troop, of course. Second in the mid-season cup. This is a good way to be starting off our stage 2. How is the team feeling going ahead in the competition, being able to take on everyone in the other group now?
We feel great. I mean, there's a lot of teams that we have to, you know, continue to play. Cores, they went 3-2. They had a big win over Oxygen in the regular split last time. So, I mean, we get to play at MXS, Oxygen, a lot of tough teams, YFP with a new roster, right? So, I mean, I'm excited to just play good games. And, you know, I like competing against everybody. So, I'm up for any challenge that comes our way. I mean, we're feeling good. So, hopefully we get some good games in.
Definitely glad to hear. And first week, off to a success. So thank you so much for your time. Have a good rest of your day. Have a good weekend, all right?
Got it. Thank you. You too.
Thank you. As for us, I know that we'll be having a good weekend because we got to have some great VALORANT to be kicking off our Friday vans. Good stuff coming on through. It's been you've been here the entire week. I know you're sad it's all over. That's true.
It's not going to be too long of a break because I even think next week we're even starting earlier than usual because of Masters Shanghai that's happening. So I think overall this week has been awesome. We had a lot of games that went into overtime. We're actually proven here now that in Challengers that the competition is getting very close. And last but not least, I get to hang out with you, with Schiff, with Gompers, with Lemon Kiwi, and also with Twitch chat. I mean, I couldn't ask for anything better, right?
It's true. It's always a good time over here, and it's nice too, Schiff, seeing that even a couple of things that we've got to see in stage 1 haven't been like, okay, well, this team's always going to be coming out on top, or like, yeah, this team underperformed last time, you count them out. I think this week more than anything has proved that this is still going to be really interesting going on forward. Like pulling up the group standings, even with a couple of the results maybe going in way of one team over the other, how they got there wasn't exactly a linear line.
No, and again, this is going to be kind of a weird standings to look at through the season because we don't have groups playing each other. Like there very well may be one group that's just better than the other, and maybe that was the worry kind of leading into when the groups got announced in the first place. But I think after the first week of action, you can very confidently say that that likely will not be the case. I think the Winthrop win over Fluffy Aimers goes to show that you still can't take those guys lightly. Blinn going the distance earlier today. I think there was a very winnable 2-0 series in the mix there for Blinn. They're going to look back on that one and say we probably woulda, coulda, shoulda. But across the board, you know, as much as we like to talk about like there's a top 3, top 4, I don't think we're going to get that clear-cuttedness right off the get-go in the first couple of weeks here this season. I mean, obviously MAD had to play up against Oxygen in their first matchup, but they still have to play up against teams like Moist, and they still have to play up against teams like Blinn. And let's not shrug off the fact that even though YFP did beat what looked to be a very unprepared SAD Esports team, YFP still played a very good set of Valorant in those 2 maps. So I'm excited to see what I think all of our teams have to offer going into the next week of games.
Exciting stuff up ahead, but unfortunately that is it for this week. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in, dealing with our shenanigans. Shift, Vance, thank you so much.
What?
As
I'm
well
so
as
serious. What are you talking about?
Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about, your 1980 movies over here. Make sure to be tuning back in next week for more antics and, of course, more Valorant. Have a great rest of your weekend. See you, everyone.
Bye.
One enemy remaining. Spike planted. Sky's out. One enemy remaining. Long. Spike planted. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. Last player standing. Last player standing. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. Last player standing.
Rash is ready.
Look at that. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. Nailed it. 3. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. No more Viper. One enemy remaining. Flawless. Remaining. Down B.
Welcome to my world.
One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. Last player standing.
My camera is
remaining. One enemy remaining. Did I? 30 seconds left. Spike down A. Rest. One enemy remaining. Clutch. One enemy remaining.
Shut the...
Dizzy has targets. One enemy remaining.
Flashbang.
One enemy remaining.
Bomb grenade out.
One enemy remaining. Clutch. Oops. One enemy remaining.